between those who genuinely want to study and to learn and to grow, and those who want to, let's say, agitate or turn over the apple cart. Meaning Ilana Kershaw is getting up 5 o'clock in the morning going to the Daf Yomi Shir. So she beats me by 2 hours on the Shir. Who am I to judge her? Dara Horn, who am I to judge, right? So no judgments. I've never taught Talmud to a women's only class. To be honest, I've never really thought about it. I don't know my comfort level. I have given the Daf Yomi Shir women attend. And, sometimes that can be very comfortable. Sometimes it can be a little bit uncomfortable depending on the particular topic being discussed. I think it's a great thing for a woman who wants to study. And that's an outlet for her that she finds fulfillment in, for her to pursue it. I certainly do.
Marty Levine. Stand up. Really, two very quick questions. I know I'm breaking the rules again. I know I'm back to one. Number one, when you have a question really of halacha that you're really not, you need more advice on, who's your posek, who do you go to? And the second question is on Yom Ha'atzmaut, Yom Yerushalayim, your feeling about Hallel, bracha, no bracha, where do you stand on all of that?
Okay, so I'm going to answer the first question. That's an easier one, so to speak, meaning for this forum. And that is that I happen to be a Musmach of Yeshiva Oruve. I happen to be a student there. Rabbi Betzal Radinsky is the Rosh Yeshiva there. And I personally follow mostly his perspectives and his rulings. However, that doesn't mean that my congregation should be bound by his rulings. He may have certain perspectives or rulings that are not necessarily mainstream in certain areas. So when I am seeking advice for questions that come from my congregation or from elsewhere, there are two considerations that go in. One is, who is the expert on this matter? Who is the person who would know that? So when I have today halachic medical issues, I'll go to Rav Asher Weiss in Yerushalayim. He's the posek for Shaarei Tzedek Hospital. He took over the position of the Tzitz Eliezer, and he is, he's the man. I'll go to Rav David Cohen often for general questions in halacha. I will speak to Rav Mordechai Willig, whom I very much enjoy speaking to. He very rarely paskins for me, but is happy to discuss the issue and tell you there's room to paskin this way or that way. I will call Herschel Schachter, and I've called him many times. I often joke that during COVID, I spoke to Rav Schachter and Rav Willig when I spoke to my wife, and we were locked in the house together. So, I will call them to consult. I once called Rabbi David Cohen on a complex question related to ribbis and credit unions. Rabbi David Cohen said to me, he said, I can talk to you in learning, but I don't know the answer to it because I don't know the legalities of it. Why don't you call Rabbi J.D. Bleich? Because he's a lawyer. So Rabbi J.D. Bleich was a professor of mine in law school, and I, thank God, had his number. So I called him on that issue. When you call Rabbi J.D. Bleich, you need a dictionary just to talk to him on the phone. But these are the people I will call and consult on various halachic issues. Again, it's a matter of two things. One is the expertise. Number two is tailoring the particular person I'm consulting to the particular proclivity nature of the person asking the question. Meaning, I'm not going to ask your question, because I don't know you that well. I know you're a great Balkore, but that's all I know, right? But I probably wouldn't go to the Square-Dayan to ask your question. Even though I have spoken to the Square-Dayan and the Vision Dayan on various halachic issues, and believe it or not, their psakim are much more mainstream than you would think. But I'm not going to take your question to the Square-Dayan. It doesn't match you. So I'm going to try to match up the person I'm asking to the particular issue. Yom Yerushalayim, Yom Ha'atzmaut, Hallel. So I often say in my shul, we put too much emphasis on the Hallel and not enough emphasis on the day. Meaning, I came into the shul saying Hallel Yom Ha'atzmaut. So without a bracha on Yom Ha'atzmaut, Yom Yerushalayim, some guy gets up there at the Shemon Esrei, brings us through the Hallel, done, and you're finished. What kind of yom is that? What kind of celebration is that? You want to say halal, so say halal, like you mean it, like you're actually happy this day happened. You're actually happy with what we had. In terms of, you want to know my halachic ruling on halal yom ha'atzmaut? So that, you got 45 minutes, I'm happy to give a shir. Rabbi Yosef for the Yabi Omer Chelik Vav has a nice tshuva. I think it's in Ayin or Samach. He has a very, very beautiful lengthy tshuva on the topic. He comes out halal without a bracha. And that's what the practice is in my shul. That's what we do. That's what I would, what would I do here? Whatever the shul does, right? Because there's a shul in place with an hagim already. And that's what you do. You follow the meaning of the shul. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Rabbi Phyllis Solomon. My question is, we have a very active sisterhood that requires the use of the kitchen. How do you feel about a woman from sisterhood turning on the oven in the kitchen without your presence or the presence of a mishkiach?
So that's a great question. I assume when you say turning on the oven, it means also cooking in the kitchen, preparing whatever foods. Turning the oven on? Is it a complex oven? I assume it's you turn the knob or press the button, right? So, if you're talking about areas that don't raise, first of all, I'm assuming that the woman of the sisterhood is Jewish. That's an assumption I'm making, that all the sisterhood is Jewish. Second of all, from a halachic perspective, just rewarming food would not raise problems, even if the person from the sisterhood was not Jewish. There might be other issues involved, but that would not be one. In terms of, how things function, what is there supervision? Does there need to be supervision? I don't know the people in the sisterhood, and I certainly would not want to create a situation where there's a bifurcated rule for the sisterhood, and for you it's okay, you it's not. So there would probably need to be some system in place that would say it's okay. Obviously, this week's Parsha, Moshe comes to Yisro and says, if you don't learn to delegate, the Yisro comes to Moshe, rather, Nabol, Tibol, Gamatah, Gama Moshe, so if I got to turn the oven on every time, Ach and Vey, not going to be good. But at the same time, I'm sure it's easy to figure out a workable system to ensure that whatever's going in is coming out and everything is clearly done in a way that it's known what the policies are and what the rules are. Okay, next.
I can't do anything about it. I have tried everything.
I'm not the room, I'm in the back of the room, not the last one to speak though. I'm BG Younger, glad to meet you.
Probably someone younger than me.
I just got a message that they can.
My question to you is, we are an aging community, as you are aware. What are your pastoral?
Now we have sound, no photo.
What background?
I can't, there's something glitchy on this. I can't do anything with it.
Envision the future dealing with that issue.
So there's a multifaceted approach to such a question. There's halachic, there's guidance, there's pastoral, there's all the pieces to it. I've been the Rav of an aging shul for 20 years, and when I came into the shul, the age range was from probably the 40s and 50s to as much as the 90s, and I've had the merit, I would say, to help people pass on to the next stage, and that includes the people themselves, it includes family members, and there are many pieces to that. There's just being there for the people. There's supporting them. There's offering halachic guidance. There's offering comfort, consolation. There's offering the knowledge that you've been there and done that, so to speak. There's guiding people towards what to expect next and what's going to be happening. There's consultation with doctors and hospitals. I mentioned this to, I don't even remember who, it's been a busy weekend. But when when family members are caring for somebody who's in a later stage in life, especially, in a community like this where maybe a spouse is caring for an unwell spouse and the children are far away, there isn't a support network where the caregiver can get out at times and can be, have some time to themselves. Then you get the the people themselves burn out. It's not healthy for anybody. It's also, when I always say the hardest day of Shiva is day 8. Because when people pass on, so the Shiva time is a busy time. People are coming and family is there, and then when that ends, people are alone. And they're not only alone, but there's a void. People spend time giving and caring and taking care of other people, and then suddenly that's not there. So there's a big hole in their lives. And it's important to guide people to understand that that's going to be there, and to be there for people, and to also establish a network, just like the caregiver can't be there 24/7, the rabbi can't either. There has to be a network of people in the community who can be there. And sometimes people need to be brought out of their shells, and sometimes people need to be supported. But, it's a matter of really, one of the things I've learned over the years in the rabbinate is that your job is to help people and to support them through good and better times. And sometimes are good, sometimes are better, but through all those times, your job is to be there and help and support the people. They bring the mic back up.
Hi, Rabbi. My name is Bonnie Hirschman. Question to ask you: how do you feel about women saying Kaddish Tzibor, and how do you feel about the satellite minyanim?
Okay. I'm going to try to combine the two into one question, so you're not in violation of the rules. The Rav Yosef Eliyahu Henkin had a fabulous article written in the late 1960s about women saying Kaddish. And it's one that has really guided my perspective very much. And it's the following. He said that if we shut women out from saying Kaddish, you're basically shutting 50% of the Jewish world out of public synagogue life. And that's a terrible thing. So, Rav Henkin was a little bit more religious than I, a little bit more right-wing. He felt that
We don't have that choice. That's-
women saying Kaddish was not only to be tolerated, but encouraged. My feeling is the following. I like a shul to be a place that is comfortable for everybody, which is hard to do.
Webcam.
I mean, these
Turns
chairs
out
do
to
help,
make-
but
You don't.
like a shul to be a place that's comfortable for everybody. So in my shul, there are women who have and do say Kaddish.
Everybody can-
And what I advise them to do is to say it along quietly with the
A couple
men.
of questions from
And if there's not a man saying Kaddish, I will ask a man in the shul to say Kaddish, so that the women can say Kaddish. They don't have to feel uncomfortable. The men in the men's section who would get offended, would be very upset that the woman's saying Kaddish, so they're not offended. Because, so, it's done in a way that's quiet, respectful, and is everybody else who can be comfortable. So that's my approach to it. I know there are other halachic positions on the matter, but that's how I feel about it. I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question?
Satellite minyan.
Satellite minyan. So, you have to recognize that every single thing has both its positives and negatives. And of course, satellite minyan for many people are convenience. You're all out of bed, the minyan's outside your door. It's beautiful davening outdoors, and then we don't have too many outdoor minyanim in Muncie this time of year. But it's beautiful. It's, for some people, it's a lifeline. I mean, for some people, they couldn't get to shul, and they could not be part of a minyan. And the fact that there is a minyan there for them is a beautiful thing. I don't think it's within the purview of the rabbi or the shul to stop these minyanim. And I think when you try to stop them, what you do is you just develop breakaways. So I think that instead of trying to fight, right, with the old line, if you can't beat them, right, so join them, have them join you. I mentioned, I think, at Friday morning at our breakfast with the committee, My question is, how do these satellite men feel about the rabbi coming and speaking there? You know, I could jog around and get to everyone pretty quickly, so. You interact with them and you make them, and you fold them as part of your shul and make them feel like they're part of your shul. And, you keep it under the umbrella of the shul.
Baker, what is your major takeaway having spent this time with us?
My major takeaway is that you are a wonderful group of very friendly, warm people. That's number one. And number two is I've seen a number of people who are passionate about their community and their shul, which is beautiful. You know, my takeaway is that there's going to be some thinking on your part in terms of your impression of me, and my wife's part in terms of our decisions, and you know, in terms of where we're going to be and what we're going to want to be doing, and if this is a fit for us. But you know, you are the nicest group of people I have met in a long time.
My name is Matty Wortman. Firstly, thank you to you and the Rebbetzin for enhancing our Shabbos Shira. Another out of the box type of question. There are a number of people in this shul. The exact number is not known. There are a number of people in this shul who carry guns, including to shul and including on Shabbos. Wondering what your opinion or what your thoughts are about that.
I've got to be very careful here because some people who carry guns. If you're carrying a gun, you should know I love you. I think you're great. I would not say anything against you, chas v'shalom. The answer to that obviously is there's a lot to be, you know, to it. Their security concerns are real. And there are major issues. I think that security is probably best held in the hands of professionals. Gun carrying comes with a risk, right? I want people, if they're going to carry guns, to be trained, to be educated, to be properly guided in terms of when and how to use. One of the risks that's involved in the yeshiva and the shul, I've had numerous consultations, and they said many times, the problem is the guy with a gun in the shul is most likely to be the first guy to get shot by the cops. Because they don't know who the good guys are and bad guys, and they're going to go for him. So it's a definite risk. It's something that would need to be, in my opinion, sat down with proper security. I don't pretend to be one. I've had conversations again in the yeshiva and the shul with people who do this for a living, who analyze your structure, analyze your infrastructure, you know, and tell you how to make it safest. So I would want that to be a policy. But again, if you're carrying a gun, I'm not going to tell you what to do.
My name is Heshi Sokol. I think we do need youthful vigor in this shul. Should you be picked as a rabbi, I know you'll have your hands full, but how do you feel about the fact that there are thousands of people in this village who aren't affiliated Jews? And how do you feel about kiruv work?
That is such a great question because it was on my mind this morning. It was on my mind this morning. The question was, how do you feel about the thousands of people in this particular community who are not affiliated Jews? How do you feel about kiruv work? So I'm going to answer the question in two parts. The first part of it is that, and you might not like this answer, but I wouldn't come to be the Rav of Torah or alone. You know, I'd come to be the rabbi for the community at large, and I might even add, I don't know if they're all Jewish, but not only for Jews. I remember a number of years ago, Rabbi Zev left, who had been in North Miami Beach, came to speak at the yeshiva by us. I actually teach his grandson. Nice kid. A little rambunctious, but you know, he runs in the family. And he spoke about an experience he had in North Miami Beach, where he had a Catholic young man, 16-year-old, come to him. And the child was suicidal. He told us the story behind it, etc. But he actually told the story without saying what happened at the end with the child. And afterwards, I went to him and I asked him, so what happened with the child? So he said he got in contact with Catholic Family Services, and he got this child the help that he needed. But you know what I learned from there is that as a rabbi, you're not just a rabbi to the shul that you serve, not just a rabbi to the Jewish community, you're a rabbi to the community around you at large. And you represent the Orthodox Jewish world and community around you at large. And that means that you're going to be interacting with them. I actually was thinking this morning, if there would be time in the schedule to knock on all 5,700 doors. Maybe I'll carry some encyclopedias under my arm. But you want to be a rabbi, I told them how I feel about kiruv work. So I think kiruv work is a very important understanding. Kiruv work is not about getting feathers in my cap because I can check off how many people I made from. Kiruv work is about finding Jews who don't know who they are, don't know the beauty of Orthodox Jewish life, and sharing it with them. Meaning, I'm encouraging you, not because I have some goal that at the end of the day, I am going to get greater reward because I've got more people on my ledger. Your work is about the fact that you're a fellow Jew. I care about you. I want you to have what's good. And I feel bad that you don't. And I want to share that with you. I want to give you something good. You know, Rabbi Moshe Hauer, when there was this killing in the United Arab Emirates of the Chabad Shliach, Moshe Hauer wrote his favorite Chabad story. I don't know if any of you read it. It was a great story. His favorite Chabad story involved a friend of his who used to take the subway in the city, going to work. And he watched this Chabad Shliach every Friday set up shop to ask people they put on tefillin that day. And, to put tefillin on for them. And everybody, people, you know what it's like. You look away, you don't make eye contact. Thank you, no thank you, I'm not Jewish, I'm not interested. He said he watched this guy week after week come out, and his success rate was less than 1%. Nobody took him up on it. So finally, one day he had the courage to ask me, he said, Rabbi, I don't get it. How do you have the courage to come back out every single week and do this job when your success rate is near zero? So he said, what are you talking about? My success rate is 100%. What do you mean? So he said, every single Jew who passes me by thinks about the fact that he's Jewish. That's 100% success. That's 100% success. Right? People should walk by Torah, or even if they never walk in, remember they're Jewish. So, on the way to Abba at the clubhouse, so they have to remember Avim Shemayim, the Abba here, when they pass by. That's a success. That's a success.
Welcome.
Thank you.
A lot of people move here because there's a shul on premises. Unfortunately, a lot of these people do not join membership, do not pay dues. Some attend shul here, some don't. How would you encourage people when there's such a financial deficit to the shul? I don't know if you're aware. To join and pay membership, including people that the satellite.
Okay, I'm going to answer, first of all, for those who are nervous about the financial deficit. So the Orthodox Jewish organizations run on deficit. That's how we work. And if there's money in the safe, you got a problem. Second of all, in terms of those people, that's why we have the people with the guns.
person. No,
Good morning.
Willie Hoffman. Well, first I have to correct or amend the person that just made that statement, and very simply say, because if everybody who owes money to the shul would pay their dues, capital expenses, et cetera, we would be in the red. So
Black.
I'm sorry.
Not ready.
Not enough coffee. Okay, so it's my single question. Can you share with us the years you've been at, in Spring Valley, at, formerly Rabbi Wine's shul, your hosting, members, being asked by them to eat in their home, and how would you feel from what you know now as before, eating in, if you were invited to eat in people's homes?
Okay, I appreciate the question. And certainly, you know, we would want to host people and have people come, join, be part of our Shabbos table. In terms of eating in people's homes, I don't know the community well enough to answer the question definitively. Meaning, I don't know your kosher standards. I often say in Muncie, it's hard to be non-kosher. You got to really work. Yeah, we're gonna find, less than stellar hashgacha in Muncie. You got to work at it. In terms of communities that are, not in Muncie, here in Boca Raton, I don't know the structure of the community well enough. I don't know people's kosher standards. I would not want to create a structure where I would tell you, I'll go to your house, but I won't go to your house, right? That's not healthy at all. It's not healthy, it's not comfortable, it's not a way to be. I had mentioned to the committee when we met over Zoom, although I think that the comments were somewhat truncated and edited on the video that was shown to the audience at large, where Kenny Brander started in Boca Raton. That he had a policy, he would go to people's homes, but it had to be catered food on plastic, right? And your beard could have been down to your ankles, but it had to be catered food on plastic, not because, or maybe he didn't trust your kashrus. This way, it was a uniform standard for everybody that allowed you not to chas v'shalom offend any person. If you're gonna offend somebody, just offend everybody.
Very easy to do here. He's very.
My
Good
name
morning.
is Wendy Goldberg. I just have a quick statement and a quick question. We have for the last 12 years, we had initiated 12 years ago, a Kira program, an outreach program called Century Village Connects, which has been running several events, usually at least 4 every year during the seasons, and it's been very successful. My question to you is the following. This has been a grant-written program that has to be renewed and evaluated every year. So my question is do you have experience in grant writing or the such, or you'll work with people who do? And what is your experience, your actual experience with Cura?
Okay, in terms of grant writing, I've never actually done grant writing. I've done plenty of writing in plenty of forums. I mean, today I'll just put it into ChatGPT and let them spit it out. That's the way it works today. In terms of Kiruv, I always make the point, all of Jewish education and Jewish public life, the rabbinate, is always Kiruv. We're being Mikari of everybody, including ourselves, constantly. One of my favorite stories involves a gentleman who had been studying in Or Sameach in Yerushalayim and went to visit the Ger Rebbe. And went to visit the Ger Rebbe, he went to consult for something. Ger Rebbe asked him, what do you do? So he said, I study Or Sameach, but don't worry, I'm not a Baal Tshuva. And the Ger Rebbe said, why not? Why not? Why aren't we all Baalei Tshuva? Meaning, I'm not going to speak for everybody in this room, I'll speak for myself. I have room to grow. And I have place to improve. I have place to improve on my relationship with God. I have place to improve a relationship with my fellow man. My wife can tell you I got place to grow. Right? We've all got place to grow and to improve. So it's all about Kira work. It's not about Kira work per se. It's about trying to help people to become their better selves. And that's whether you're, Are you affiliated? Not? Rabbi, Lau, in his book, Out of the Depths, Rabbi Lau reports on his first meeting with Lubavitcher Rebbe. And, when you meet somebody, you look for points of connection. So, we've made a lot of Monsey connections over the course of Shabbos. So Rabbi Lau said to Lubavitcher Rebbe, just like you, I'm also involved in Kiruv Rechokim, in bringing close those who are far. Lubavitcher Rebbe's response to Rabbi Lau was, who are we to judge who's considered Rechokim? How do you know who's close to who's far from God? Right, so what's Kiruv? Kiruv? I had a guy in my shul for many years. He never davened with a minyan. Never came to minyan. He spoke to God all day long. In his business, in his personal life, spoke to God constantly. I used to tell him all the time, I said, I'm jealous of you. Because I daven 3 times a day, but barely ever talk to God. And you talk to God constantly. So, who are we to judge what's Kiruv? It's about trying to bring everybody to their better self.
Hi, I'm Hal Waller. Question about the following. What do you think the term modern orthodoxy means, and how do you relate to it?
When I was in the 10th grade, had a conversation on the bus home from MTA with a good friend of mine about this. And I said at the time, well, I use indoor plumbing and I have electricity, so I'm modern. And I wear a yarmulke and I daven with a minyan, so I'm Orthodox. So therefore I am modern Orthodox. I'm not a labels person. I don't like labels. I don't like assigning to ourselves or others labels. And I don't like trying to identify with particular groups over those labels. I think that every single subset of the Orthodox world has what to offer and has value. If you want to identify some of the characteristics that are known to be part and parcel of what's called modern orthodoxy. So it involves an embracing and a valuing of secular education. And I happen to be a big advocate of it. My experience in life has been that rabbis and rebbeim lack a secular education are just simply not as good at what they do as those who have one. I'm a big advocate for secular education. The modern orthodoxy is marked by a support for and love of the state of Israel. And I think that's an integral part of at least my worldview, and should be an integral part of all our worldviews. I think modern orthodoxy is marked by
2 questions.
a comfort in interacting with the broader world and with the non-Jewish world. And I think that that's something we should be doing as well. To me, the paradigm of what I see as the model is Rabbi Yaakov Weinberg. I don't know if any of you have ever read Mark Shapiro's biography, Between Two Worlds. If you haven't, you should. If it's not in the library here, get it. If you can afford it. If not, the guys with the guns will get the money and then you can get it. But it, it's a model of paradigm of understanding our role, our place, how to be part of the broader world. To be comfortable. When I was in high school, I had a Rebbe named Rabbi Dulitz. Rabbi Avishai David, who is now in Ramat Beit Shemesh, Rosh Yeshiva Torah Shrabi Yerushalayim, he wrote a book about his memories and his experiences with some of the great ones of the last generation. One of the chapters of Rabbi Dulitz. Rabbi Dulitz knew Shas and Shakespeare by heart. Shas and Shakespeare, And he was always a hero of mine. Right? Because, you know, you gotta know shots. You should also know Shakespeare.
Mantor Hall.
Right? So you know, both should be part and parcel of your understanding of the world. I would tell you that I don't know shots or Shakespeare like Rabbi Gotlieb. But you know, I'm still young, like you said, it's got time.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi Gotlieb. The referee has called time. So you're all welcome to come forward and talk to the rabbi. Come forward and talk to the rabbi if you want to ask some more questions, but we're out of time. So it's not, thank you very much.
Very strange.